Hello everyone, this is Dondo from Dondo Racer 26, bringing you an actual motorsport story video, kicking off the beginning of the Motorsport Stories, the series where I talk about various crazy and interesting stories across the world of motorsport. And today's story is neither of those, sadly. Instead, today's story is one of pain, suffering, and an overall shit show. This is Spa 2021. Before the weekend had even started, there were already doubts about the weather. According to the weather radars, the only dry running any championship would get that weekend would be Friday morning to Friday afternoon, where the rain would clock in for a 3-day downpour. Formula 3, W Series, Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup, and Formula 1 all managed one dry session, until W Series were the first to test the wet conditions, and we all know how this turned out. Granted, the session had started dry, but the rain said, "Oh no you don't," and then begins the downfall of the weekend as a whole. F3 qualifying was delayed, Porsche Super Cup qualifying was also delayed, and FP3 for Formula 1 was delayed. Yeah, you get a delay, everyone gets a delay. Jokes aside, this was a serious problem, and as we've seen before, when one session gets delayed, another usually gets canned. Fortunately this time, no sessions were cancelled, but by the time F1 qualifying rolled in, the rain had hit its worst. Yes, it was intermediates to start with in FP3, but then the rain did what rain does best: get heavier. Qualifying was no different. The track was soaked, fans were soaked, marshals were soaked. I mean, at this point, what wasn't soaked? Q1 and Q2 ran with intermediate tyres, but Q3 became wetter, and thus wet tyres became the preferred option. And when Lando Norris decided to tempt fate in the wet conditions, yeah, you all know what happened next. Norris crashed heavily through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, destroying his McLaren and forcing another lengthy delay before cars eventually got back out on track again. Most notable from this session was George Russell taking the Williams to the front row, sitting on provisional pole before everyone's favourite Dutch driver stole it in the line. Nothing new there. So the grid was all set for Sunday. The weather, however, yeah, why am I not surprised? Sunday brought in lots of rain, emphasis on the lots. And although F3, W Series, and Porsche Super Cup got their races in, F1 was going to be a completely different story altogether. Even during the build-up, people were very skeptical of the race starting on time. And I'll be honest, deep down, I had a horrible feeling about this race. Not just because of the possibility of not going racing, but the possibility of a potential tragedy that could happen on the racetrack. And given what happened 2 years prior, nobody wanted a repeat. The start was delayed twice, then a formation lap took place, then a red flag was thrown. What followed was 3 hours of waiting. Quite literally. Aside from all those watching from home, I feel even worse for the poor fans that had been there all day and had witnessed all races but F1. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Sergio Perez also crashed on his way to the grid before the formation lap. But because of the 3-hour delay, Red Bull managed to fix his car and he joined the actual start of the race, albeit from 20th. The lap counter was changed from 44 laps to a timed race of 1 hour. But after 3 laps of running behind the safety car, yep, you guessed it, the red flag was thrown. By this point, it looked impossible to get going again, and after another long wait, the message that everyone had feared was shown on the screens at home, and all around the racetrack. The race will not be resumed. I didn't want to believe this at first, but then it truly sunk in. We just watched a race become abandoned. All those poor fans who had been either sat or stood in the rain all day had witnessed nothing of an F1 race at all. And how were those who had stayed in the hopes of an actual race compensated? A compensation package that looked like this. No refunds! Like, what the fuck? So you're telling me that after sitting/standing in torrential rain for nearly 8 hours of Grand Prix Sunday action with no Grand Prix, fans are compensated with giveaways and an F1 TV pass, which by the way costs only £2.29 a month, I might add. Understandably, fans were enraged with this kind of compensation. One fan, speaking to RTL, said this:
"I paid €900 for a mockery of a Grand Prix, and I'm being offered an entry into a prize draw. Are they kidding? Personally, I had to work hard and sacrifice certain things to take my son, who loves F1, to this event."
This race weekend will always go down in infamy in the world of Formula 1. Could the fans have been compensated better? Absolutely. Could F1 have avoided such a huge problem over this weekend? I honestly don't know. But what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, but please, for the love of God, keep it respectful. I do plan on making more episodes for the motorsport stories. This was a first attempt, so I have no doubt that I probably missed a thing or two while making this. But thank you for watching, and I hope this shed a bit of light on that god-awful weekend, and I'll see you all next time.